Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I'm using the Great Escape collection, which is just fabulous, and I'm focusing on this fantastic semicircle paper. I love it, and I love all the colours, but because it's on a white background and it's got lots of colours in it, it's a bit tricky to use as a full sheet, as a background. It's a bit tricky. So whenever they have a busy background like this, I want to use, I just make sure I pair it with lots of white space, because that way the photos have got room to breathe, and it means that you can get a large portion of the paper on board or on the layout, but it doesn't look too crazy busy. So the first thing I'm doing to dull it down a bit is by adding a border to that big diagonal piece that I've cut. So I wanted a big diagonal piece because these photos are us up a volcano, so we are high up, and it was super steep where we were, so that line represents to me the steepness of the area that we were visiting. So yeah, and there were lots and lots and lots and lots of rocks and stones, where the semicircles come in. That's what they kind of reminded me of. So anyway, yeah, so that's the first thing I've done. So I've cut that big diagonal piece of paper, my big steep climb there, and I've added an edging of green. So it's a pale green. It has a compass design on it, but it reads as a solid because it's like tone on tone design. And I really wanted to that just dulls it down. It gives it an edge for a start, which helps, and it dulls it down a bit and gives it a bit of separation, and it all just makes it much more usable. So you can see that now, even though I have a very busy side on the right hand side, I can put my photos on there, and because I have that big area of white space on the left, my photos have room to breathe, and it doesn't look overly cluttered, or they don't get lost in the background. Whereas if I had that full sheet, it would have been a very different story. So I have got my two photos there. Very blue skies, which don't really go that well, but it is what it is. I have my word adventure, which is multicolored. I love the multicolored phrases on the chipboard, but I was worried about using it with the multicolored paper on the right, but actually looked great. The fact that it's got that green line there works really well. If that wasn't there, then that wouldn't work well up against the semicircles paper, but because of that green line, it works well. So I have got my two photos, I've got my title, I've got my background kind of sorted. I love that adventure awaits square there. That's from the A5 paper stack cut apart sheets. And I wanted to mount my photos on something, but I've used so much of my A5 paper stack already, and I only have one. I haven't got much left, because I cut out millions of stars. So I don't have much left in order to mount my photos with, which is quite often what I use it for. So I was just being a bit frugal, and I did use some of those offcuts. You can see them there on the left-hand side, that I've used to cut out stars, and I've just cut off bits from those offcuts to use to mount my photos. And it's worked. It looks okay. They don't read like they're pieced together, but actually it does work really well. I also wanted to get in the campfire items. Now, I don't camp. We don't camp as a family. I've been there, done that. I'm like my creature comforts these days, so I'm not camping anymore. So I don't have campfire photos at all. When I saw the campfires in the embellishments or in the ephemera, I was like, I'm never going to use those. But we went to a volcano and there was fire. So, perfect. So I'm going to use them all on this layout. So I have one piece of ephemera that's a campfire and one piece of chipboard that's a campfire too. So they're both going on. There is fire in the background of my photos. Okay, so you can see that I'm getting my layout together. It's kind of like a bit of a steps design. I've got one photo, then another one that's down, then I've got Adventure Awaits, which is up. And over on the right-hand side, I felt that I needed something to go over there. So I've pulled out another one of those cut-apart journaling cards from the A5 paper stack that says, the outdoors is cooling, and I'm just building up layers around those key parts, those key like photos effectively, and other journaling cards. And then I need to link them all together a little bit. I feel like it's almost ends up looking like a horizontal line, and I feel like it needs to be kind of joined. So I've extended the journaling card on the right. I've extended over towards the left a little bit so it gets closer to the embellishments to its left. Yeah, over on the left, I've got some flowers underneath my photos, and the wood rounds, and as well as the campfires, of course. Yeah, it's all kind of coming together. A few stars in there as well. The embellishments over on the right do get lost in a semicircle background, but it's okay. Up close, it looks fine. From a distance, not as good. But yeah, that's the drawback of working on top of a busy pattern paper. Things will get lost in it. But I love it, and I want to feature it, and I want to use it. So I'm all good with all that. So just putting in a few little phrases at the bottom of the second photo there. Wild places, let the adventure begin, and magical. All of those phrases go really well with my photos. So yeah, it's all kind of coming together. I'm happy with how it's looking. I love the title going down onto my photo there. I love the whole horizontal line I've got going on. I love the steep incline up towards the right. So yeah, it's all coming together. Just adding some sequins in place, just a few different sets that I mixed together to make something that matched the Great Escape collection. And then I've just kept that little pack with my Great Escape papers, and always just reached for that every time I've made a layout. So just adding a few of those in place now, getting those stuck down. And I don't know if I do it on camera, but I do add my journaling going up the mountain. So I write on the green line and write along the diagonal line. Something else that I want to mention that I do off camera is I add the word volcanic. So I make my title Volcanic Adventure as opposed to just Adventure. But I needed some little alphabet stickers, and I didn't have any because I was scrapbooking away on holiday and I didn't have those with me. They're from the Heart and Home collection, the little, there we go, the little tiny alphas. I didn't have them with me, so I had to wait till I got home to add those. So there we go. That's me all finished. I added a few splatters of black paint at the very end, and there's my title, all finished. And I hope that you enjoyed seeing the layout come together. Thank you so very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Cocoa Vanilla Studio using the Great Escape collection.